Hi, thank you for contacting us for our free video website and digital marketing review. We hope you find it useful. So, your business is the Property Mediation Center. Um, we've had a quick look at your website and your competitors' websites, and then done a bit of digging into their traffic and some of the digital marketing they're doing. I'll start off with your website. We like to start off with that first. The reason being is we want to make sure that's converting well. So any traffic that is going to your website, you're making the most of that and not losing that. And then you've got a good funnel in place. Now, with a company like yours, we believe that a website should be fundamentally designed to be collecting emails. So not necessarily to sell your services up front. I know this might seem a bit sort of counterintuitive, but um, often people come onto a website, they're at the information gathering stage, they're not necessarily ready to buy. And some products and services can take days, weeks, months of that buying cycle. Um, so if you can offer some value up front for those people at the early stage of their research, you've got their email, and then you can start setting up automated email sequences to them, talking about the benefits of your business, giving them some free information, and ultimately selling your services. So the sale of the service should really happen on the back end in your email. We often use gain, logic, fear sequences and other similar sequences rather than on your website as such, although some people might come to your website and want to buy straight away. So what we would suggest is that on this, what we call above the folds, this top bit of the website is the most important bit of your website. Most people won't go beyond this. If you look at heat maps and stuff, very few people scroll down unless they're very interested in buying. They'll come onto this top part and they'll make an instant decision within literally seconds or less than, in terms of whether they think your website's relevant, whether they trust you, and whether they're interested in taking the relationship further. So it's really important in that case, you've got to have the messaging really clear about what you do. So there's no confusion. Confusion causes resistance, and that loses people. You've got the name of your business, the Property Mediation Center, which, well, I think sums up your business. However, I think you should also have a line, a couple of sentences, one or two sentences here, detailing what you do. You have got this bit of text down the bottom here, which is a bit far down. The problem with this is that the first sentence is short, but here it's very long, the sentence, and it's very difficult to follow and easily understand. And any confusion just will lose people. I get that you're trying to get all the different nuances of the service you provide, but if you could write that a lot more succinctly, I think that'll generate a lot more business for you. And I would have that up here. Also, every bit of real estate on your website should serve a function and a purpose in terms of trying to convert new visitors. Whilst these colours look nice and pretty, I don't think they're serving any function in terms of converting visitors and getting email addresses or selling your service. I recommend using images either of yourself to show people what you look like to give that sort of trust factor, or what we often talk about is the end desired result that your potential customers are looking for, in which case that's a solved mediated case. And so an image of people shaking hands, which will come to quite a lot of your competitors have done, that's future casting to people coming to your website like, oh, this is where I'm going to be at the end of that journey with you. We would also suggest putting something showing your credibility on here. So memberships, organizations, reviews, testimonials, if you can put up here. It gives a few seconds people have got to look at it. They can see what you do. They can see that you're credible in terms of the organizations you're members of, the qualifications you've got, the testimonials going out the top there. And I know you've got a bit of text here about your business. This is a big screen, but I do find this text quite small. You might want to look at sort of increasing the font size on that so people can read it easily. It's small on a big screen, so if you're sort of smaller screen or on a mobile, I imagine it will look even harder to read, and people will lose interest. So you want to be nice and succinct and good sized text that's easy to follow through. Bullet points often work quite well, which you've got here. Those stand out. And then also, in terms of contacting you, as I mentioned earlier on, we would suggest you design your website to be collecting email addresses. To do that, I would offer some value up front, sort of demonstrate the value that you can provide. So something and that would appeal to people perhaps in the early stages of research. So a free tips and guides on how to choose the right mediator, 7 tips on what to look out for when choosing a mediator, um, facts about mediation, these type of things. In exchange for an email address, means you'll get the people even at the very early stage of the research. And even if they forget about you, you've got their email address. You can send that automatic email sequence to them over a number of days, weeks, and prove the benefits, give some more free information, show the value you can offer, some testimonials in your emails maybe, and then eventually promote your services and hope you get a sale on the back end. It does also mean if you're looking at upselling other products in the future, you've also got the email addresses. You might be able to sell them other products, either your own or potentially affiliate products, to push up that average customer lifetime value. You can also have up here your email address and phone number for those who want to contact you direct. Um, what I would say is also, because your contact, you got to sort of up here, and it's not that straight. You want to make it easy for those who want to contact you to be able to contact you. You can also look at having a chat bot. Your competitors showed me don't have them, but people are getting more and more used to them and using them more often. And people have different ways they like to contact people. Some like the phone, some like email, some like chat bots. You can put a series of sequences of answers and questions in there, giving out your guides and various things. And you can also interrupt that and come in on live on the conversation. You can even have push notifications on your website. But yeah, I would make the contact certainly more visible up here, and a nice big button with download free guide for how to choose perhaps a property mediator. Um, I don't know what your conversion rates are. You've obviously got those in your analytics software. We tend to recommend Google Analytics, but it'd be interesting to know what that is and your bounce rate. I suspect you might have quite a low conversion rate and quite a high bounce rate on this website. So some of these sort of things will help you reduce that and turn more of that traffic into leads, and more of those leads into ultimately into buyers. But say not upfront, but over a process where you get a chance to generate that know, like, and trust factor with your potential customers. The other thing I looked at was your page speed. This is a tool, a Google tool, with paid traffic, but also SEO. Uh, you have literally a few seconds, if that, to convince people of the value of your website. So you don't want things loading slowly. Um, I've seen worse. It's not horrendous, but really, this is mobile. You want to be in the screen area 90 to 100. It is normally, and here due to image formats, some of the coding on your website, unused coding you can remove. Sort of fairly technical stuff, but something your web developer can do, or we might be able to look at for you. And then your desktop, it's a bit better, 84. I mean, not horrendous. But again, you want to do all you can so it loads quickly. Uh, again, this a lot is to the format of the images and unnecessary code on your website. So it'll help the page load better. But also, Google counts will mark you down quite heavily for SEO, because mobile, slow speeds, and more people are using mobile nowadays. So you really want to get that firing as well as possible. Have a quick look at the other websites you sent. This one here, they make it very clear what they do. And big letters here: resolve your property dispute by mediation. They don't do any lead generation. I would suggest they did and give a guide. But here they got the image of somebody shaking hands. That's future casting to your potential customers. That's what it's going to look like when they've finished with you. They got a lot of information here, a lot of content, which is great. And I would suggest we'll talk about SEO and providing content. You should do something similar. They got images of who they're dealing with, so they're not sort of faceless. I mean, I know yours is on the website, but it's hidden a little bit, your image. They got the mobile number up there. Stephen Shaw, he's got a bit small, his contact details, but they are up there. It says what he does. He obviously has different mediation. Picture of him, so you know who he is. Give a bit of confidence, bit of information about him. Some testimonials, very high up, so people can get the social proof about him. And then membership of organisations he's a member of, to give a bit more credibility as well. And then this one here, this takes a slightly different approach. They got the number and the email here. They've gone for sort of the images of scaring people. If you don't use us, this is what it's going to look like. I mean, there's one approach. I would probably, I mean, you could test both to be honest, but I would recommend probably going for the future casting of what it looks like when they've worked successfully with you at the shaking hands. You could also, in the copy, it's mentioned when if you don't sort it out, then it can be quite an unpleasant process. I mentioned those pain points, but I certainly as your main image at the top, I would probably go for more the future casting of the positive result. But interesting to test. You could test images and see what converted best. And here that they got some credibility in terms of their memberships here. And they got some testimonials again and memberships of organizations, and then their services. So yeah, there's the website. So yeah, first of all, I suggest you make sure your website's converting as well as possible, and you're collecting email addresses. And you've got an automated email sequence in place, so you're getting the most. You're capturing as many people into leads, and of those leads, you're firing to get the most out of those leads that you can. I think then at that point, it's worth looking at the traffic and driving traffic to the website, but only really when you've got all that firing on all cylinders. Um, so what we did, we used a popular tool called SEMrush, um, and just go back to this bit here. And I think bear in mind, mention this is a tool. So the best data will be on your Google Analytics or other analytics software you use. This kind of estimates from data available what it thinks is going on. It can be out sometimes. The more traffic you have, the more accurate it is. Your traffic's quite small, so there could be a reasonable amount of inaccuracy in it. But it's the second option, without being able to access your Google Analytics. Interestingly, you're already ranking. See, it's a new website. You've got zero authority. You need to improve that for your SEO and limited backlinks and so on. And we can see you mentioned you're a new startup, but interestingly, you've got a couple of keywords you're ranking for already, which is good. The two here, one more relevant than the other. This is loading up. Okay, so here you got the keywords here. You got various information in this column, but without going into details, you got your position in Google and the average approximate monthly search volumes, and then how difficult it is to rank. So the lower it is, and green is easier, orange, red, harder, and then the estimated cost per click on Google paid search and the pages that are ranking. So Mediation Center near me, I guess the problem with that for you is that you do property mediation, but I'm not sure you do other mediation. Maybe you do. So not all that traffic will be relevant. But property mediation, from what I understand, is exactly what you do. And interesting, you're ranking on page 27 on Google. So that's pretty good. Sorry, not page 27, number 1027. And the search volume is 320 approximately a month. Again, those are approximations. Okay, it's not massive, but I would be fairly confident that a good portion of that would be good high value traffic for you, and be very interested in the content on your website and potentially your services, and also your it's saying it's not that difficult to rank higher for that. When we're doing SEO, we start off with keywords that people are already ranking for on Google, but maybe not so highly yet. The reason being is if Google's already sort of picked you up as relevant for a particular keyword, it's the quickest win is to work on that keyword and improve that, and then start on new keywords. Like all these things, there are no guarantees with SEO. There's certain best practice we follow, and these are indications, but they are approximate and relative. I also had a look at the traffic of your competitors. Interesting, there wasn't a lot of traffic on these websites. The main one that came up was Roger Leavitt's Mediation. And according to this, his main source of traffic is Google search, and it's in a diagram form here. So it says all organic traffic. Again, these reports aren't 100% accurate, but they give a good guide. So the more traffic there is, the more accurate they are. I think some of these other websites don't have much traffic, so it's not showing much on there. So yeah, SEO seems to be certainly the route we can see one of your competitors is getting their business from. So what we did, we looked at this report, similar to the other keyword report, but put in your competitors as well. So you can see what they were ranking for, what the opportunities might be for you. It's in a diagrammatic form here, and then here it's in a tabulation form. So you've got the keywords down here. You've got which types of intent, but this is your website, and then your competitors and their ranking, and then the approximate monthly search volumes down here, and then a scoring for the difficulty for ranking, and then the approximate cost for Google search. And clearly, a lot of these aren't going to be relevant for you. And if you were to work on it, we would spend a bit of time working with you to discuss what was relevant. There was one I noticed earlier on which might be of interest. If some are more pertinent than others, but property dispute possibly. This guy is 86, 140 searches, 28, so isn't it too difficult to rank for? Some general mediation ones, but there was I saw, I'm sure, a real estate mediation one somewhere. Well, freehold leaseholder dispute possibly might be relevant to you. Okay, not a high search volume, but relatively easy to rank for. I must have passed it. Property boundaries resolution. I'm pretty sure somewhere there was a real estate mediation keyword. Yeah, here we are. Real estate dispute resolution. That's got 320 searches in a month. One of your competitors on page position 55, but it's not too difficult to rank. So some of these, although the individual search volumes aren't high, but if you went for some of the ones which have got are relatively easy to rank for and highly relevant to you, and you started ranking for a few of those, it would start bringing in some traffic that hopefully should be relevant and converts reasonably well. So with the SEO, we would suggest having a sort of content plan in place and producing content related to the keyword. So do the keyword research, choose which ones, then produce some content related to that, so some blogs and some articles. You can then repost that through social media if you want, on LinkedIn and stuff, which LinkedIn might be more relevant than some of the other social media. Although there is one way we will come on to in a second, you might use social media. And then, and also you can put those articles through your automated email sequence. So people be on your website, you can then drip them some of the content you've got on there, some of the blogs and so on that might be of interest to them. The other option is, so SEO is a slow burn with no guarantees. The other option is Google search, paid search. Now, although your competitors aren't registering on this for page search, if we Google property mediation services, there are certainly people who are advertising on it. Now, I know some are registered property, some have got their targeting fairly poor, and general mediation I noticed before. But so certainly some people are doing it, which make one think that they might be making money out of that. What we can do if we went down this route for you, we can look at your competitors, who's advertising, what keywords they're advertising on, what ad copy they're using, how long they've been using it for, and how long then, the longer they're using it for, the chances are it's probably working quite well. Of course, we wouldn't copy it exactly, but we would use it for inspiration in terms of your business and see what we think in it is working, and so forth. So there may be an option with Google search. Obviously, you're paying per click. Generally, Google search is not particularly cheap. There are some guide prices in the clicks here, which is actually in US dollars, but they look very low to me. I would suggest it's probably a bit higher than that. Bear in mind your conversion rates maybe only a few percent. So say it's $1 a click. You might, if you're converting at 1 or 2%, it's going to cost you $100, $50, or whatever it might be for customer acquisition. That said, your fees you got a reasonable fees, so that might be affordable for your customer acquisition, and it will give you more immediate results, and the SEO will be more of a slow burn. The other thing you can do is retargeting. The easiest one is through Facebook. I wouldn't suggest really probably necessarily promotion services through Facebook. You could look at that in the future, but what you can do is retargeting. And if you're not familiar with that, basically put a pixel on your website from Facebook, and we can tell who's visited your website but hasn't contacted you. So people might have come on, they might have been distracted, the doorbell went or something, closed the website down and forgotten about you. We can then send ads on their Facebook feed, reminding them of your services, giving them good content. So some of the blogs, if you mentioned your content policy, we can use some of that that might be useful. maybe some email captures of some way. So that is another option in terms of not wasting traffic that's already visited your website and then trying to get some of that back. And we can see who's signed up and who hasn't, and target them accordingly. So we're not contacting those who contacted you. So I think overall there are some options for you. I think in sort of summary, I think your website's nice, but I think it can be designed better for conversions and email capture, with some of the messaging, the imaging, and putting on some email capture on there, and then content for email capture, but also content for SEO, and that all could also be used for retargeting. And also on pay-per-click ads, you could run some pay-per-click ads to get some leads from your content. So I think that's sort of be the main focus, but you also want to build up an automated email sequence, so you're making the most of those leads and promoting to them and selling. I would look at other ways of selling products and other services, possibly for affiliate stuff and so forth if you can. So those are things. So in terms of us, we are partners of Digital Marketer. I don't know if you know them, but they people like Ryan Dice and Traffic Conversion Summit, the biggest internet marketing summit in the world. So we're authorized to use their tools and methodologies. These are more on a strategic level, but they also go down to a tactical level as well. So we can help with your overall marketing strategy. But then also on a more tactical level, we're qualified as senior media buyers of ad skills, one of the top media buying training companies, and with your SEO work and so on. So we can help you on the sort of the top level, strategy level, ranging from sort of one-off appointments through to being a fractional marketing director, or on the more sort of tactical implementation side. So I hope you found this video useful. If you've got any questions, would like to discuss it further, please feel free to get in contact. And I hope it adds value to your business.